and gentlemen, Romance Writers of America is proud to welcome you to the 38th Annual RITA Awards Ceremony. Your hostess is a New York Times and USA Today best-selling author of more than 20 Regency-set romances. Please welcome Erica Ridley.
Hola! Before we begin, let's take a moment to recognize the finalists and winners of the Golden Heart Awards given out earlier this afternoon. Congratulations, everyone. Welcome to the 38th Annual RITA Awards Ceremony, where tonight we get to celebrate some of the best books published in our genre. And romance is an amazing genre. How do I know? The first rule of romance is happily ever after. Some might say it's the only rule. I mean, your editor won't say that, or your agent, or your critique partner. But my friends, dear reader only cares about one thing: the warm fuzzies she gets when she finishes your book. And if happy ever after is the one rule of romance, then the one rule of romance writers is we're all in this together. The great thing, oh, thank you. The greatest part about writing love stories for legions of voracious readers is that romance authors aren't in competition with each other any more than the purple Skittle is in competition with the green one. We're Pokemon, baby. Readers gotta get them all. Every new author, every new book release, every new series, every new subgenre and trope and archetype and plot twist we create brings ever more new fans into our world of happy ever after. We are not alone. We are an army of invincible romance writers, operating at full power, expanding our ever-increasing romance empire toward total world domination. Too many superhero movies? I don't think so. I think we're in a room filled with hundreds of superheroes right now. Some of them are just unsung. Every writer in this room knows the joy of writing when everything is going great. The words are flowing, your characters are behaving, you're winning contests or scales are skyrocketing, and your fans are praising you as a literary genius. Perhaps your dream editor is interested in your writing, or there's a shiny new six-figure contract waiting in your inbox. But we also know how awful it feels when the words aren't flowing, when edits are dripping in red ink, when we're convinced that our writing sucks and nobody will ever read another word we put on the page. Some days, all we want to do is quit. Why bother when it's obvious we can't string decent words together or keep up with an industry that seems to be changing every single day, right? It's days like these when words of encouragement mean the most, especially if they come from someone who isn't your best friend, or a family member, or your significant other. Sometimes the best support system we have are the people in this room, colleagues. We're going through the same struggles, no matter if you're just starting out or if you have a long library of books published. When one of our own needs a hand, well, you'll see what happens throughout tonight's ceremony.
Your writing sucks was the message I kept getting in 2013. By that time, I had been writing for 4 solid years and thought I'd finally written something worthy of publication. So I decided to start submitting to contests, because that's smart, right? So I sent my manuscript off to all these different contests. And then I went to a workshop where all the writers in the workshop were going to act out a scene I'd written. And I picked a scene I was particularly proud of, one that I had written and rewritten and thought was rock solid gold, my best writing. But when they acted it all out, they all hated it. Nobody had anything good to say, and they all piled on. And I left that workshop feeling hurt, confused, and devastated. And when I got home, those contest scores started coming in. And all the judges seemed to be telling me the same thing. Your writing sucks. Because I was getting the village idiot score from every single judge. I remember going on a walk with my husband after this and telling him how beat down I felt about all the negativity about my writing, and how I really just needed one person to tell me that my writing didn't suck. So what does my husband do? He looks at me and says, your writing doesn't suck, which meant nothing to me because the man had never read anything I'd ever written at that point. So I spent the next 3 days lying on the couch, munching my way through 2 super jumbo-sized bags of Rice Krispie M&Ms the size of my head because we had just been to Costco. On the 4th day, my husband made me leave the house and go to a movie. And on the way home from the movie, I got a message from somebody I had never heard of before. Her name is Amy Patrick, and here's what she had to say. She said, "Hi, Abby. I was one of your judges. I just wanted to say how much I enjoyed your manuscript. As a preliminary judge, I only got to see your partial, but I was desperate to read the rest. I was shocked not to see it in the finals. I gave you a perfect score in every category. I loved your voice, characters, world, and story. I thought it was unique and just so well done in every way. You made a not blatantly obvious hero really appealing and sexy. And you're just a great writer. From one hopeful to another, hang in there and keep submitting. I think it's only a matter of time for you." Here was my one person who didn't think I sucked as a writer. Now, if I hadn't gotten that message from Amy that day, I wouldn't be here. I would not be here. Because I wouldn't have had the courage to go back in my office and sit back down and keep writing. Now that manuscript that everybody hated so much in 2013, that manuscript without any changes at all, got me my agent. That manuscript finaled in the 2014 Golden Heart, and that manuscript got me my editor and is now published under the title Hunt the Dawn. So don't give up. No matter what, don't give up.
Our first presenter tonight is a USA Today best-selling author of more than 35 books who once bonded with her fellow Rita finalists by making a video in which they trash-talked each other. Here to present the Rita for Best Romance Novella is Tony Blake.
Best romance novella are Dancing with the Duke's Heir by Bronwyn Scott, In Scandal at the Christmas Ball, Harlequin Mills and Boone, historical, Nicola Cause, editor. Forbidden River by Bryn Kelly, Harlequin, HQN, Allison Carroll, editor. Her Duke at Daybreak by Wendy LaCapra, self-published, Barbara Bettis, The Killian Group, editor. In His Arms by Jules Dixon, In Falling, Small Town Love Anthology, self-published, Michelle Josette, editor. The Pursuit of by Courtney Milan and Hamilton's Battalion, a trio of romances, self-published, Lindsay Faber, editor. The Secret of My Seduction by Caroline Linden, self-published, Martha Trachtenberg, editor. Sweet Home Highlands by May McGoldrick in Christmas in Kilts, a Highland Holiday box set, St. Martin's Press, Swerve, Krista Soldesir and Eileen Rothschild's editor. Until the Sun Sets by Tara Wyatt, St. Martin's Press, Swerve, Holly Ingram, editor. And the Rita for Best Romance Novella goes to Forbidden River by Bryn Kelly.
Well, I didn't expect to be up here tonight, and I actually don't belong up here tonight. I'm not Bryn Kelly, but I have the incredible privilege of working with her and representing her. And she did write a little speech that she said I wouldn't get the chance to read, but ha-ha! And I hope you're watching there in New Zealand. So, Bryn says, I'm so glad someone else is reading this and not me, because it leaves me free to freak out while I watch on the webcast. And drink. I can keep drinking. Over the years, I've been blessed to be in writing groups who've seen me through highs and lows and good sense and good humor. To the Dragonflies, the Nifties, the Fab Five, and Romance Writers of New Zealand, a huge thank you. And a special shout out to Tina, my #1 go-to gal. I would have imploded from self-doubt and frustration years ago without your support and advice. Thank you. The person to whom I owe the greatest debt is Allison Carroll, my editor from HQN. I cannot speak highly enough of this talented editor and beautiful, genuine soul. Allison, I will always be grateful to you for cheerleading and advice and wisdom and friendship. From the bottom of my heart, thank you to you and your team for believing in me and giving me a shot. And shout out to my husband and sons for their faith in me and for always providing either a soft landing or a high five, depending on the needs of the day. Thank you for this, Romance Writers of America, and enjoy your evening.
I'm Bryn's editor, and she asked me to read a little something as well. She didn't think Nalini should have to thank herself. Nalini, thank you for your guidance in all things writing related, your reliably cool head, and your endless patience with my journeys of exploration. I am eternally grateful that fate put you in my path. Thank you on behalf of Harlequin.
Our next presenter is a New York Times best-selling author who word sprints so regularly with her friends that she actually feels astounded when she reaches her daily writing goals without them. Here to present the Rita for Best Contemporary Romance Long is previous Rita winner and finalist again this year in the Young Adult category, Pentip Dunn.
The Rita finalists for Best Contemporary Romance Long are The Dating Game by Avril Tremaine, HarperCollins, HQ Digital, Victoria Wingen, editor. Falling Hard by Lexi Ryan, self-published, Rhonda Murwarth, editor. Famous by Jenny Holiday, self-published, Tracy Montoya, editor. No One But You by Brenda Novak, Harlequin, Mira, Emily Ohanjanians, editor. Take the Lead by Alexis Daria, St. Martin's Press, Swerve, Holly Ingram, editor. Tougher in Texas by Carrie Lindell, Sourcebooks, Casablanca, Mary Altman, editor. The Wise Have It by Amy Matoya, self-published, Kristen Avila, editor. The Wingman by Natasha Anders, Amazon, Montlake Publishing, Melody Guy, editor. And the Rita for Best Contemporary Romance Long goes to Falling Hard by Lexi Ryan.
I planned this. I mean, kind of. In my plans, I got here way faster, and the path was smooth, and like cotton candy clouds, and people rubbing your feet all along the way. But I can honestly say that with all the bumps and crashes and detours, this is simply amazing. I'm honored and I'm so humbled. I wish I could go back and tell that struggling young mother who just wanted a chance to write for a living how awesome things would turn out. I owe so many thanks to so many people, but I'll try to keep it short. First, my family is everything. Thank you to my husband, Brian, who's here tonight. He's the reason I can get close to my deadlines. I won't say I make them. Sorry, Rhonda. Never. But it's more than that. He's also the reason that when people say, oh, you write those books that give people unreasonable expectations, and I can say, no, my unreasonable expectations help me find a guy who treats me right. To my kids, Jack and Mary, I hope seeing your mama work towards something she's passionate about inspires you to do the same. 1,000 thank yous to all my writer friends, but especially my bestie, Mira Lynn Kelly, who does more than her fair share of hair stroking. Oh, I owe special thanks to Adrienne Hogan, who's not here tonight, but 11 years ago she sat in this audience with me when I was nominated for a Golden Heart. And I didn't get to come up on this stage that night, but she believed without a doubt in her heart that I would be here someday getting a Rita. And she was my first critique partner, and I'm so grateful I had her along the way. Thank you to my agent, Dan Mandel, and the whole editorial and promotion team who worked on this book and all my others, especially Rhonda, who is my dear friend and really pushes me and calls me out on it when I'm lazy with my words. Thank you to RWA and everybody who judged and takes the time to read my books. I just want to say one more thing. Falling Hard's about a survivor, and I write a lot of survivors. I will keep telling their stories as long as there are little girls and young women who are called liars when they're courageous enough to tell the truth. I write for the women who message me and tell me how much they needed to see themselves in a book, because we are all worthy of love. Thank you.
Well, somehow I managed to delete my entire speech. No pressure. But I just want to say, like, I've been friends and I've worked with Lexi for years, and she's such a wonderful writer. Everything she writes comes from the heart. Her characters are so empathetic. She writes beautiful romantic arcs. I remember the first book I read of hers, I could not put it down. And when she said she wanted to work with you, I was like, duh. Like, I was really excited. I was like, yeah, I totally want to work with you. But I cannot say, like, how proud I am of her. She's such a hard worker. She puts in such an immense effort, and she really deserves this. So thank you, guys.
As I mentioned earlier, we kicked off the celebrations this afternoon at a special awards luncheon honoring the Golden Hearts. And now we want to take a minute to recognize these rising stars for their amazing accomplishments. Please join me in welcoming New York Times bestselling author Pintip Dunn.
Thank you, Erica. I'm so excited to honor the Golden Heart winners from this afternoon. Are the names listed here? Perhaps, oh, here we are. Contemporary Romance, Throne by Ariana James. Contemporary Romance Short, Coal for Christmas by Janet Ray Stevens. Historical Romance, The Duke of Charlotte Street by Scarlett Peckham. Mainstream Fiction with a Central Romance, Birds of a Feather by Anna Murray. Paranormal Romance, Gin on the Rocks by Kay Hudson. Romantic Suspense, Extreme Fear by Pamela Varnado. Young Adult Romance, Mouthful by C.R. Grissom. And if the finalists can please take the stage so we can give them another round of applause, that would be wonderful. I'm so proud of all of you, and it is such an honor for me to be able to say one more time, here are your 2018 Golden Heart winners.
Our next presenter is a #1 best-selling author in 28 countries and a past RWA president who will always be grateful to the author friends who stepped in last minute to present her workshops at a convention when she hit a creative breakthrough that necessitated retreating to her hotel room to work. Here to present the Rita for Best Historical Romance Long is Sylvia Day.
The Rita finalists for Best Historical Romance Long are Between the Duke and the Devil, Between the Devil and the Duke by Kelly Bowen, Grand Central Publishing Forever, Alex Logan, editor. The Day of the Duchess by Sarah McLean, HarperCollins Avon Books, Carrie Farron, editor. Mad for the Marquess by Jess Russell. The Wild Rose Press, T. Rose, Nicole Diorenzio, editor. The Scandalous Flirt by Olivia Drake, St. Martin's Press, Jennifer Enderlin, editor. The Scoundrel's Honor by Christy Caldwell. Amazon Montlake Publishing, Allison Dasho, editor. And the Rita for Best Historical Romance Long goes to Between the Devil and the Duke by Kelly Bowen.
Thank you. Wow. I wrote this down so I don't forget to thank anyone. But before I thank anyone, I'd first like to acknowledge the brilliant women who I share this category with. These writers have inspired me from the very beginning, and it is truly an honor to be in your company. I've said this before, and I'll say it again, and each book is a team effort, and I have been truly blessed to have an amazing team behind me along the way. Thanks to Alex Loden, my editor, who makes each of my books so much better. She is very good at what she does. To the whole team at Forever, who polish and package my stories so beautifully. Thanks to Stephanie Lieberman, my agent, who has provided unerring guidance. And of course to my family, who has been so supportive throughout this journey. And last but certainly not least, a huge thank you to every romance reader out there. You bring life to our stories, and you make our characters come alive. Thank you so much.
On behalf of Grand Central Publishing and Forever, we want to congratulate Kelly. We also want to thank the RWA for this award. And Kelly makes it all look so easy, and she's much too modest to mention that this is her second year in a row with this award, and I must say it is twice as nice, so thank you.
Our next presenter is a New York Times and USA Today best-selling author whose friends threw her a surprise birthday party at her very first RWA conference 11 years ago, when she was scared about meeting so many new people. Please welcome Courtney Milan.
The Rita finalists for Best Young Adult Romance are Blackbird of the Gallows by Meg Castle, Entangled Publishing, Entangled Teen, Liz Peltier, editor. Letters to the Lost by Bridget Kemmerer, Bloomsbury Publishing, Bloomsbury Children's USA, Mary Kate Castellani, editor. Seize Today by Pintip Dunn, Entangled Publishing, Entangled Teen, Liz Peltier, editor. The Thing with Feathers by McCall Hoyle, HarperCollins, Blink, Jillian Manning, editor. And the Rita for Best Young Adult Romance goes to Seize Today by Pintip Dunn. It's going to take her a while to get up. She's tired of being up here, I guess.
Well, I hope you're not too bored of seeing me. In 2016, the first book in this series, Forget Tomorrow, won the Rita for Best First Book. I am so thrilled that the last book in this series has been given the same honor. I'm even more happy to have finaled with 3 of my good friends, Meg and McCall and Bridget. I couldn't be in any better company. Thank you. Thank you so much to RWA, the board, and my Rita judges for this incredible moment. I wouldn't be standing here today if it wasn't for my amazing editor and publisher, Liz Peltier. You always said that Seize Today was your favorite book in this series, and I'm so glad we get to go on this journey together. Thank you to my agent, Beth Miller, for being by my side through thick and thin. I appreciate everything that you do, the big and the small. I value the support of my family and friends every minute of every day. Thank you, with everything that I am, for the gift of your love. And finally, to my husband, Antoine, who is here with me in the audience, and our 3 children, who are maybe watching from home with my parents. They might be in bed too, I'm not sure. Thank you. You are the breath and joy of my life. I have a feeling that I'm never going to forget this night. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I forgot my speech at the table, too. I just want to thank Pintip Dunn for being one of the most amazing authors I've ever had the privilege to work with. As I told her, as I edited each of the books in this series, they got better and better and better. Thank you so much. And thank you to RWA for this amazing group that supports authors like Pintip and everyone here. I think it's just so special. And last but not least, thank you to my kids who have learned to cook their own dinners and wash their own clothes and pursue their own dreams while watching their mother do the same. Thank you.
For the most part, writing is a solitary endeavor. We sit at our computers with only our imagination and a blinking cursor for company. And sometimes one or more four-legged furry companions. But sometimes even the introverts among us, and let's be honest, that's probably most of us, need to connect with other writers in person. That's a big reason why we're all here in Denver this week. There's nothing like being in the company of other writers to give our muses a boost, to fill our brains with the latest industry news and marketing plans, and convince us that we are indeed in the right business of writing romance novels, and we all belong here. And if you can do all this while at the beach, all the better.
Oh my God, the Destined Divas. I had no idea how much this group of ladies would become so important to me. When I went to the first Destined Divas retreat, I did expect sitting around in pajamas and talking about plots and characters, but I did not realize how much I would look forward to this trip every year and how super supportive all of these ladies have become. We talk to each other constantly now. We collaborate on projects. We video chat to talk about plots and structure. When we're down in Florida in the house together, the vibe is so chill. Everyone's ready to help out. We laugh, we talk, we work really hard. I've gotten so much work done, and I could never, ever tell Farrah how grateful I am about her inviting me to come and be a part of this wonderful group of ladies. Every time I go, I know I'm gonna come back with my creative well refilled. I'm gonna be ready to tackle everything. It's right after the holidays, it's right when I need it, and they always come through. And I could not imagine how my life would be without having these ladies working with me, cheering for me, kicking me in the tail when I need it. This has been a true blessing, and I'm so forever thankful that we formed this group of ladies who have been the best support system that I have ever had when it comes to my writing career.
The Destined Divas Retreat for me is an opportunity to refill the well of creativity. That might sound corny, but knowing that once a year I can get together with the women who support me throughout the year, and we can just step away from all of the hecticness that is publishing and writing and day jobs and family, and just breathe is such a fantastic thing. We've been doing it for 3 years, and I don't think we're going to be slowing down anytime soon, because it's just such a resource for all of us to have. Everybody can't make it every year, but they're there in spirit, and virtually we're always supporting each other, and this just gives us an opportunity to solidify those connections and make them stronger throughout the year. So I love the retreat, and I love my divas.
Next up to present is a New York Times and USA Today best-selling author and winner of the 2017 Rita for Best Romantic Suspense. She credits daily texts with RWA authors, regular lunches with a local writing buddy, and frequent writing retreat getaways with keeping her sane. Please welcome Elizabeth Naughton.
The Rita finalists for Best Romantic Suspense are Critical Instinct by Janie Crouch, Amazon, Stephanie Scott, editor. The Fixer by Helen K. Diamond, HarperCollins, Avon Books, May Chen, editor. Guarding Mr. Fine by Helen K. Diamond, Penguin Random House, Love Swept, Shauna Summers, editor. Montana Heat, Escape to You by Jennifer Ryan, HarperCollins, Avon Books, Lucia Macro, editor. Say You're Sorry by Melinda Lee, Amazon, Montlake Publishing, Charlotte Herscher, and On Schloop, editors. Too Wild to Tame by Tanya Burrows, Entangled Publishing, Ignite, Heather Howland, editor. Touch of Red by Laura Griffin, Pocket Books, Abby Zeidel, editor. The Transporter by Liz Maverick, Amazon, Montlake Publishing, Allison Dashow, editor. And Under Fire by Scarlett Cole, St. Martin's Press, Lizzie Poteet, editor. And the Rita for Best Romantic Suspense goes to The Fixer by Helen K. Diamond.
I don't have a speech because the people in my category are amazing. All week somebody would ask me and I'd say, Melinda's gonna get it, Scarlett's gonna get it, all week. So this is shocking, thank you. So apparently how you win this is to wear the most comfortable dress you own and not write a speech. You know, this career might be solitary, but surviving it isn't. I have an incredible group of female friends that just get me through every day, and I will write them and thank them. There are a couple people I would like to thank. I've been Jill Shalvis's Rita date for 10 years, so thank you for not being in my category. My agent, Laura Bradford, who I adore, somehow manages to take a mash of paragraphs and sell it, and thank you. My husband, who's at Comic-Con, but I love him anyway. To everyone at Avon, I love publishing with Avon. You guys, I don't know how you do it, from the covers, everything. Thank you. My editor is, Mei Chen, is pure sunshine. Everybody should have her as an editor. You can't, but everybody should. When it came to The Fixer, I literally said, this is a romantic suspense without law enforcement, without special agents, nothing blows up, there's no gun battles, nothing. And she was like, how long is it gonna be? But she had faith, and I truly appreciate that. And I also want to thank, just in general, every editor I have ever had. I am absolutely mindful of the fact that every book I write is better because all of you worked on books with me, and I am truly grateful. I am also grateful to the reviewers and the readers, because you can spend your money and your time anywhere, and the fact that you sometimes spend it with me and my work, I really do appreciate. And just a general comment. I've been writing for 11 years. This is my first Rita win. I was telling somebody the other day that I had to put a bookcase in my family room 18 months ago with copies of all my books in, because every single book, I think I can't do it, I don't know how I ever did it, this career is over, it's a reminder. So I've been there, I get you, it'll happen, I promise. Thank you.
I totally knew she was gonna win. I'm kidding. Wow, no, that's not a diss against you, but I'm not pure sunshine, but I am an avid supporter of Helen K. Diamond. I'm absolutely thrilled for her to win this award because not only is she clearly a talented, creative, smart, savvy writer, but she's also an amazing colleague, a great female woman friend, a supporter, an advocator of women's rights for romance writing and for publishing in general. And I just enjoy her as a person and respect her. So I just enjoy all aspects of Helen K. And I feel very lucky that I get to see the first draft of Helen K. Diamond's works before everyone. So I feel guilty for accepting this award because she makes it easy for me. So on behalf of Avon HarperCollins, thank you so much for RWA and for romance readers for supporting Helen K. Diamond and for everything you do. Thank you.
Everyone in this room knows how much time, hard work, and perseverance it takes to break into publishing. And even as we are still trying to sell that first book, we imagine what it will be like to have the type of career that spans many books and many years, the type of career the greats of our genre have had. Each year, RWA celebrates the accomplishments of one of these greats, someone who, through years of deadlines, burning the midnight oil, and trying to remember if they've given two heroes the same name, has delighted readers with memorable tales of happily ever after. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome actor, director, screenwriter, and producer of LGBTQ feature films, Jason T. Gaffney, who will introduce this year's Nora Roberts Lifetime Achievement Award winner.
I'm tall. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Jason from the Hot Target dedication. So, before my mom was a writer, my mom was a musician. She sang in coffee houses and subway stations, she fronted a rock band, and she directed an a cappella group. Since 1993, I was 8, she's written 57 novels, 14 short stories, and 3 screenplays. She edits a line of Own Voices romance called Suzanne Brockman Presents. She co-wrote and directed an off-Broadway play and produced 4 indie movies. Here's a trailer for her latest, a rom-com called Analysis Paralysis.
Basically, I can't stop my brain from playing out all the different ways something might go wrong. Do you ever a pasta primavera?
No.
And believe me, if I ever raise a son, odds are he'll catch bubonic plague. Oh, how about a lasagna?
No.
I'm not stalking you or anything, I just noticed.
I'm pretty sure your mouth just farted. Special delivery! Kiss you? No, thank you.
That reminds me, I'm leaving you.
I need some chocolate!
Chicken Parmigiana?
Not ever.
Hi. My God, are you okay?
Yes, I will marry you.
Analysis Paralysis was kickstarted with the generous support of the romance community, so thank you all for that. It'll be screening at LGBTQ film festivals and streaming online in the near future. And in September, we're filming our next movie, a rom-com titled Out of Body, screenplay and novelization, both written by my mom. But, okay, we're here to talk about books, right? In romance publishing, my mom is known best for her LGBTQ activism and for her books about hunky Navy SEALs. Mom's fascination with SEALs started in 1995 with Prince Joe and her Tall, Dark, and Dangerous category romance series, which exploded her career in more ways than one. In 1998, Harvard's Education was Silhouette Intimate Moments, book number 884, but only the second book in that line with a heroine and hero who were African American. Mom fought hard for that book, pushing against institutional racism. It opened her eyes to her own privilege, and she vowed to use it to make romance more inclusive. In 2000, Mom launched her second mainstream SEAL series with The Unsung Hero, voted RWA's favorite book of that year. Her Troubleshooter series is set in an inclusive America, where diversity is celebrated and honored. But early 2001 was the year that her most beloved character, out-gay FBI agent Jules Cassidy, first walked onto the pages of The Defiant Hero and into the heart of Romancelandia. He's pretty badass, right? So, Jules was the FBI partner of Alyssa Locke, whose romance with Navy SEAL Sam Starrett played out in real time over the course of 5 books before they finally won their happily ever after in 2003's Gone Too Far. But Jules' relationship with Sam was just as vital to the series. Sam began his journey a hot mess, ignorantly homophobic. But over time, Sam got to know Jules as a kick-ass, capable, smart, funny, highly skilled, heroic man. And as Sam began to think of Jules as one of his dearest and most trusted friends, Mom's readers did too. In 2004, in Hot Target, Mom gave Jules his own romantic subplot and story arc, in which he meets his future Mr. Right, Hollywood movie star Robin Chadwick. Now, at the time, RT had a no gay books policy in place. Neither my mom nor her incredibly supportive editor, Shauna Summers, nor anyone else at Ballantine Books knew if Hot Target would be accepted by reviewers or just flatly ignored. But they were all convinced that romance readers were ready for Jules Cassidy to fall in love. And they were right. Hot Target was Borders' best-selling hardcover romance of the year. Remember Borders? Hot Target is special to me because it was also the book where my mother, with my approval, publicly capital O outed me in a poetically heartfelt 2-page dedication, written in the form of a letter. She wrote, "To my fabulous son, Jason, even as a tiny child, your smile could outshine the sun." She wrote about how I'd always been completely myself from a very young age, and the way that she'd, I was quite the ham. And she'd always supported and celebrated what she called Jason being Jason. But then she wrote, "Years later, when you were 15, you still wanted me to tuck you in at night. So I'd stand by your bunk bed, and we'd talk a bit about the day. I'd also gather up your dirty clothes." She wrote, "One night, you took a deep breath and said to me, 'Mom, I think I'm gay.'" She wrote, "I know that. I told you, giving you a hug and a kiss. I love you. I'll always love you. Where did you put your dirty socks?" My mom and I both believed that by sharing this story, we were giving Mom's readers a recipe for how they might respond if one of their kids approached them and said, "Mom, I'm gay." Love is love is love is love. I know it's time to get my mother up here to accept her award, but I have one last thing to tell you. She wrote all through the night the books where Jules and Robin get legally married in Boston and gave all of her earnings, advances, subrights, royalties, and perpetuity, well over $250,000 by now, to help Mass Equality win marriage rights in Massachusetts. Rights that I'm sure, as you know, have spread across this entire nation. And yeah, that's our mother son dance from my wedding to my amazing husband Matt in March of 2016. Mom wanted you to see this because she considers this her ultimate lifetime achievement.
Please welcome to the stage RWA President Dee Davis.
On behalf of the members of Romance Writers of America, I'd like to congratulate this year's Nora Roberts Lifetime Achievement Award winner, Suzanne Brockman.
Wow, thank you. Oh my goodness. Dear Jason, in December 1992, when you were 7 years old, when things were financially dire for our family, I sold my very first romance novel, and I had my first phone call with my first editor of my very first published book. And it was so weird and cool. As we went down her list of revisions, she said, "Oh, you can't use penis." And I said, "I'm sorry, what?" She clarified, "You can't use the word penis. You have to call it something else." See, I'd yet to discover RWA and hadn't been sent the memo about the 1992 appropriate euphemisms for the word penis. In fact, this editor asked me later in that same conversation, "Will you be going to RWA?" And I said, "I'm sorry, what?" She told me about the national conference and suggested I join. But it was then, between our discussion of penis and RWA, that she gave me a revision note that broke my heart. Because, Jason, even though it was going to be another 8 years before you said, "Hey, Mom, I'm gay," I saw you clearly, and I knew you were like that Pink song, fucking perfect. So, when my first editor of my first published romance novel told me that I'd have to change my beloved small-town sheriff because he couldn't appear in my books just casually, openly gay as I'd written him, I laughed. This was a secondary character. But she wasn't laughing, so this time I said, "I'm sorry, what?" She told me that traditional romance readers were very conservative, and they did not want to read books that included even the briefest mention of gay people. She said, "You have to make the sheriff straight." I said, "You can't be serious, it's 1992. The real world is filled with gay people. One of them, you, were playing with your sister in your bedroom down the hall." I argued, how were readers ever going to expand their worldview if they didn't get to meet characters like my adorable gay sheriff? But this was non-negotiable. "We'll get letters," she said. I remember that so clearly. She said, "Readers will be offended and they'll write angry letters." I stood there thinking, this woman absolutely believes that romance readers will be offended
by my son's existence. I stood there thinking about you, Jason, thinking, if I make this change, you will never see your reflection in my first book. At the time, you were too young to read a romance novel, but I wanted you to read it someday, and I wanted you to see that little glimmer of a reflection. I wanted you to know that right from the very start of my romance career, there was always room in my world for you. I stood there, faced with the choice of doing what was right, pulling that book and finding a different publisher, or feeding you. As my silence dragged on, the editor said, "Other publishers won't let the sheriff be gay either. That's just the way it is." And that was it. My radioactive spider bite. My origin story. Because feed you my child, I would, but I vowed in that moment that I would make room for you in the romance genre, because I would not write books set in a world where gay people, where you were rendered invisible, where you were erased because that's just the way it is. So it was not by accident that many of my earlier books have a hero or heroine who happen to have a gay brother. He doesn't appear in the book, can't offend anybody. He's only mentioned in passing, but he's gay and he is loved. Can I get away with that? Can I get away with that? I can? Good. Next book, I'll push harder. And I pushed, and 8 years later, with the help and support of my brilliant longtime editor, Shauna Summers, my most popular character, my out-gay FBI agent, Jules Cassidy, walked onto the pages of The Defiant Hero. It was shortly after that, Jason, that together with your dad, we got actively involved in the fight for marriage equality. And yes, RWA, that was my real lifetime achievement. I have danced at my son's legal wedding to his amazing and wonderful Mr. Right. And some of you have no idea how impossible a dream that might have seemed back in 1992 when I was told to erase the gay sheriff from my first published romance. The obstacles we faced seemed insurmountable. RWA, you were an obstacle. In 2008, I was asked to emcee the RITA Awards in San Francisco, and I was thrilled. My book, All Through the Night, had recently come out, a groundbreaking, mainstream, New York Times best-selling romance about two gay men celebrating their love by getting legally married. My crazy, inclusive, liberal, hopeful, love-embracing brain took RWA's invitation as approval and acknowledgement that love is love is love is love. But not so fast there, you. Early on, I'd asked if there'd be time for me to speak briefly, just a few personal words at the start of the ceremony. Of course, I was told. But at the rehearsal in San Francisco, I was asked to practice reading the statement I'd prepared. It seemed a little strange, but okay, I had it with me, so I did it. It was a short, joyful statement about California being one of a very few places in the US that, at that time, would recognize Jules and Robin's marriage. I was stunned when I was informed that I could not say that. I was told that the issue was divisive and some RWA members would be offended. Imagine being asked to speak in an RWA event and then being told you can't talk about your most recent hardcover best-selling romance novel or the marriage of your all-time most popular characters because some members would be offended. I should have walked out. I regret not walking out. I should have rocked the living fuck out of that boat. Instead, I was nice. Instead, I went along, and I let Jules and Robin and all that we'd achieved be erased. But right here and right now, I'm reclaiming my time. Because that, my second radioactive spider bite, changed me too. I will never not speak up again. I will never choose nice over right. And I know this is a different organization now. I wouldn't be here if I didn't believe that. RWA has grown and changed for the better. But those changes do not and should not erase the past. There's so much work to be done. There's so much work that we need to do to be as inclusive as we should be, as inclusive as we can be. And oh, RWA, I've been watching as you grapple, as you attempt to deal with the homophobic, racist white supremacy on which our nation and the publishing industry is based. And it's long past time for that to change. But hear me, writers, when I say it doesn't happen if we're too fucking nice. It's time. It is time. It's time. It's time to rock the boat in the name of love and inclusion. Now, you know, even before I made my 2008 vow to stop being so fucking nice, I'd long been labeled as too political because I write books that include gay people and people of color. But that's not politics. How can equality and equal rights be political? It's about right versus wrong. It's about inclusion versus exclusion. It's about embracing the incredible gift of diversity. If that's political, it's time for you to get political too. It's time to open ourselves as both writers and readers to the people and their often harrowing stories that gatekeepers have long made writers erase from their books for fear of offending the people who hold power. So, here comes the part of my speech where I get political. Oh yeah, I haven't gone there yet. Be strong, be brave, be courageous, be kind, be willing to take a risk and open your heart to let in some stranger, some scary other. And only then will you win the beautiful gift of love, of connection in the form of a romantic HEA. That has been the message of romance since we first began whispering our stories around campfires on cold nights. But somewhere, somehow along the way, someone decided, not so fast there, you. You don't look like me or think like me. Those stories aren't about you. You don't belong here. Some of us intentionally tightened our circle to keep people out. And when you grow up in a world where you learn just from watching that you are let in, but others are not, you often accept it as your truth. So when you write what you see and what you know and what you have been told to believe, like, oh, books set in a town where absolutely no people of color or gay people live, you are perpetuating exclusion and the cravenness and fear that's at its ancient foundation. And yeah, I'm talking to you, white, able, straight, cis, allegedly Christian women. And don't at me with not all white women, because 53% of us plunged us into our current living hell. 53% of us are racist, and some of us don't even know it. Oh, wait, what's that? You're not? Then do something. Prove it. In November, vote these hateful, racist traitors out. If you believe in love like I do, if you write romance where the stories we tell are about the courage that it takes to open your heart, it's time for you to do the same. Open your heart and look hard at your political and religious beliefs. Examine all that you were taught, usually by white men in power. Then try to see exactly who and what they erased from the stories that they then labeled truth. Look beyond the fences that they claim will keep you safe. Fences that are, in fact, your prison walls. Because the diverse, inclusive world that they've erased is vibrant and beautiful and filled with hope and joy and boundless love. But the sad truth is, we no longer expect anything of you, you 53%. It's up to the rest of us, including the 99% of all women of color who continue to inspire me and lead the way. Stand up, speak up, fight, vote. Our lives, our rights, our marriages, our love depends on it. RWA, thank you for this honor. I kind of suspect you'll never invite me to speak at anything ever again. But that's okay, because it's now or never. And my idea of an inclusive, diverse, loving, caring America is worth both creating and fighting for. It's worth everything. Dear Jason, I love you. Love, Mom.
That was amazing. Congratulations, Suzanne, and thank you, truly, for being an inspiration to so many, and for sharing your wonderful stories with the world.
Up next to present is a member of both RWA and the Science Fiction and Fantasy Writers of America who writes in the cross-genre category of fantasy romance. She supports other writers by volunteering at both the local and national levels. Here to present the Rita for Best Paranormal Romance Novel is last year's winner, Jeffy Kennedy.
Okay, paranormal finalists, if you've taken your shoes off under the table, put them on. The Rita finalists for Best Paranormal Romance are Bishop by Marie Johnston, self-published, razor-sharp editing editor. The Druid Next Door by E.J. Russell, Riptide Publishing, Rachel Himowitz, editor. *11th Grave in Moonlight by Dorinda Jones, St. Martin's Press, Jennifer Enderlin, editor. *Hunt the Darkness by Stephanie Rowe, self-published. *Song of the Night Piper by Hannah Meredith, self-published, Anna D. Allen, editor. *Spectered Isle by K.J. Charles, self-published. *To Enthrall the Demon Lord by Nadine Mutas, self-published, Faith Free Woman, editor. And Wanted and Wired by Vivian Jackson, Sourcebooks, Casablanca, Kat Klein, editor. This is so cool to do. And the Rita for Best Paranormal Romance goes to Hunt the Darkness by Stephanie Rowe.
I'm not Stephanie Rowe. She couldn't be here tonight, but she's watching on the live stream. Congratulations, Stephanie. I'm really excited about this because Stephanie and I were Golden Heart finalists together for the first time in 2003, 15 years ago. We were the first class that gave ourselves a name, Go Wet Noodle Posse. But I do have her speech, so pretend this is Stephanie talking. 10 years ago, my life imploded. As I stood there, my hands shaking, unable to breathe, I said out loud, I have two choices right now. I can lie down on the floor and give up, or I can choose to fight. I paused, and then I said, I choose to fight. 10 years later, I am 1,000 times the person I was before everything fell apart. To me, this award is about more than succeeding as an indie author. It's about personal triumph as a woman, as a person, as me. To everyone out there dealing with something tough, keep fighting. You go. Thank you to RWA, to Trish Milburn, who has been there since the start, and to everyone out there who has offered a ray of sunshine or a guiding light whenever I needed it.
Our next presenter is a New York Times best-selling and two-time Rita Award-winning author who would probably never change out of yoga pants or put on makeup during a book deadline time if her writer friends didn't make sure that she sees the sun and is properly fed with Mexican food in between writing sprints. Here to present the Rita for Best Erotic Romance is last year's winner, Ronnie Lauren.
The Rita finalists for Best Erotic Romance are Constant Craving by Tamara Lush, self-published, Jamie Nord, editor. Deposition in a Dare by Evelyn Adams, self-published, the Atwater Group, editor. The Rivalry by Nikki Sloan, self-published, Karen Dale Harris, editor. Stud by Jamie Schmidt, Penguin Random House, Love Swept, Sue Grimshaw, editor. Wicked Dirty by Jay Kenner, Martini and Olive Books, Martini and Olive, editor. And the Rita for the Best Erotic Romance goes to Wicked Dirty by Jay Kenner.
I was really not expecting this. Thank you. I have to, my thank yous go back a really long way. I'm going to thank a woman named Barbara Miller, who none of you know because she's a lawyer in Newport Beach, California. And years ago when I was practicing law and trying to write a legal thriller, she, and I wasn't doing well, and I was really bored, and I was bothering her. And she's like, read this novel, just leave me alone. We were on our break. And it was a Julie Garwood novel. And I fell in love with romance. And so I tried to write a historical romance and failed, miserably. And she said, well, you know, you could try writing contemporary romance. I'm like, really? And she handed me a Harlequin, a Vicki Lewis Thompson book, and I fell head over heels in love. And so that started a 20-year journey. And I also have to thank, I know you're out there somewhere, and I'm going to butcher your name, and I'm sorry, Paula Decheverry, because when I went as a very, very, very newbie to a book signing, she told me about RWA. And I was hitting her up with questions over and over and over again, and she's like, you have to join this organization. And so I have been a member of this organization for over 20 years now. It has given me the best support group in the world, the best friends in the world. I have to thank all the friends I've made. I have to thank Melissa for having my back, the whole organization for just being amazing, and most of all, I have to thank the best friend a girl could ever have D. Davis. I love you, girl.
Sometimes writing is hard because we haven't quite figured out our plot. Our writing friends are there to help us brainstorm. Other times, the desire to write flees on the heels of a heartbreaking rejection. Our writing buddies may bring us a tub of our favorite ice cream to soothe the pain. But then there are the times when writing takes a backseat because the sorrow of real life intrudes. Again, our fellow writers are there, this time to help us navigate the dark days and remember how to put one foot ahead of the other.
Families, whether the ones we are born into or the ones we choose, can help us through the difficult times in our lives. Used to, back in former days, families banded together and they created what they called snow homes. There were places for school children to go when they couldn't get to their houses because the snow was too deep. They would usually stay with a neighbor who would offer safety and care for the children until the storm passed. In 2006, I lost my husband, and it shook me to my core. I didn't know where to go or what to do, and I know a lot of you have been there too, so you know what I'm talking about. I received an invitation from RWA member Jody Thomas, and when I got to her house, she took my hand and she said, "You will always have storms in your life, and consider this your snow home. You can always come." I just cannot express my gratitude and appreciation to her for her kindness.
In October 2015, I was diagnosed with lobular carcinoma. It is a form of breast cancer, and I also had a book that was coming out the very next month. I was going to be part of an anthology with Tiffany Reese, and it's called The Naughty List, and he's kind of yummy. And there I am, there she is. And yet, when I would come out of a surgery and there was many, my phone would chime, and it was a tweet from Tiffany Reese and all the women that were in this anthology, and Tiffany would always say, "Pumpkin spice, that's my favorite Spice Girl." Tiffany's tweets made me laugh and smile when there wasn't anything funny about losing hair or parts of your body. And it just seemed like surgery after surgery. So then all of a sudden I got my first royalty check and bills were coming in, and it was just that, again, another lift from being in with such a wonderful individual. Last summer, I was at the Romance Times Books Convention in Atlanta, Georgia, and I went up and I met Miss Tiffany. She was as generous in person as she was being in her anthology, and that was how Tiffany and the whole romance industry buoyed my spirits when they were absolutely demolished. And so I wanted to be back here today to say thank you to Tiffany and every romance writer who has made this possible for me to be here. Thanks.
Up next to present is an author who through the romance community has had the privilege of collaborating with and learning from so many of the authors who have been an inspiration to her. Here to present the Rita for Best Historical Romance Short is last year's winner, Kelly Bowen.
The Rita finalists for Best Historical Romance Short are Blame It on the Duke by Lenora Bell, HarperCollins, Avon Books, Carrie Farron, editor. The Demon Duke, Margaret Locke, self-published, Tessa Shapcott, editor. The Rogue's Conquest by Lily Maxton, Entangled Publishing, Scandalous, Alicia Tornetta, editor. The Scandal of It All by Sophie Jordan, HarperCollins, Avon Books, Mei Chen, editor. A Scottish Lord for Christmas by Lauren Smith, Grand Central Publishing, Forever Yours, Madeline Colavita, editor. Waltzing with the Earl by Catherine Tinley, Harlequin Mills and Boons Historical, Julia Williams, editor. Within a Captain's Soul by Lisa Olick, Kensington Publishing Corps, Lyrical Press, Amanda Seaman, editor. And the Rita for the Best Historical Romance Short goes to Waltzing with the Earl by Catherine Tinley.
Okay, got the glasses, got the piece of paper out of my bag. Oh my goodness. Unfeckin' believable. So I have to start by thanking my family. My lovely husband, Andrew, my amazing children, Danny, Aoife, and Maeve. And we have one of those family message groups on Facebook, you know, on Messenger, and the children have given us all nicknames. So Maeve is Mauve, Aoife is Glasgow, because she loves living there, and Danny is politics. Don't ask. My husband, Andrew, is just a series of Zs, or Zs as you would call them, because he has this incredible talent for falling asleep anywhere, anytime, the minute he decides to go to sleep. His mother says he could sleep on a clothesline. My nickname, it's in quotation marks, and it simply says, I'll be upstairs writing. But that's what we do, isn't it? We take ourselves off on a regular basis away from those we love the most in order to write about love and hope and to give our readers optimism and persistence in difficult times. So, first and foremost, can we all thank our loved ones for putting up with us? I'd also like to thank my parents, Sheila and Tommy, my sisters, Donna and Aisling, and my brothers, Cahill, Dara, and Phelim. Yes, lots of Irish names there. We grew up in a very small council house in a deprived part of the north of Ireland during the worst of the conflict there. And who would have thought that a wee girl from Derrybeg would ever stand on this stage? So I'm proud to be from Derrybeg. I'm proud to be from Newry, County Down. I'm proud that I persisted with my dream of writing. And my book only saw the light of day because a very brave and wonderful editor, Julia Williams, pulled it out of a slush pile. Julia, I cannot thank you enough. I also have to thank Julia's colleagues in Harlequin, Mills and Boone, including Brian E. Green, Linda Fildew, and Joe Grant. Thank you all for believing in me. And finally, I was one of those lonely writers. I wrote alone. I never showed anyone my work. I never was part of a writer's group. I had no clue about the publishing industry. I wrote Waltzing with the Earl, and I just kind of sent it in. So for it to be published by Harlequin and be a double feckin' finalist in the Ritas is beyond anything. But because of that book, I've also now found my tribe. I found it in the Unlaced Historical Romance Group, check us out on Facebook, in the Harlequin Historical Authors Group, and in Women Aloud NI, a fantastic network of women writers from the north of Ireland. And of course, I've also found my tribe right here in the RWA. So my final thank you is to all of you, to those who judged, both the initial judging and the final round, and to those who did such a great job organizing this flipping event. Isn't it amazing? And to all of you lovely, warm, friendly people. I came all the way from Ireland by myself to be here. I am so, so glad I did. Thank you.
I know Julia will be so thrilled and so excited. She absolutely adored this book, and I'm just absolutely thrilled that Catherine won it. So thanks to the RWA on behalf of Harlequin.
Our next presenter is the best-selling author of more than 40 titles, as well as a national speaker on creative productivity. Many of you know her as the creator of the popular Chunky method of time management for writers. Here to present the award for Best Romance with Religious or Spiritual Elements is a former Rita finalist in that category, and RWA Honor Roll member, Ali Pleiter.
The Rita finalists for Best Romance with Religious or Spiritual Elements are Grounded Hearts by Jean M. Dixon, Amazon, Waterfall Press, Sherry Zajakowski, editor. A New Shade of Summer by Nicole Deese, Amazon, Waterfall Press, Cheryl Zajakowski, editor. A Note Yet Unsung by Tamara Alexander, Bethany House Publishers, Karen Schur, editor. One Simple Wish by Katie Lee, Annie's Fiction, Janice Tate, editor. And then there was you, Kara Isaac, self-published, Iola Golton and Haley Matthews, editor. And the Rita for Best Romance with Religious or Spiritual Elements goes to Then There Was You by Kara Isaac.
Oh my gosh. Because we're all storytellers in this room, I want to tell you a story about the beginning of Then There Was You. I first started writing the manuscript that would become Then There Was You in early 2008. It was my first attempt
at a contemporary romance after my 120,000-word chick lit novel died with chick lit, and I was told I needed to find another genre if I wanted to be published. So I sat down and I thought I'd give contemporary romance a crack. I had no idea what I was doing. I had no idea what the story was that I would write. And then I sat and I wrote, and this hero appeared on the page. And his name was Josh, and he was an Australian worship pastor from Sydney. And he came alive in that book. And at the time, I was 25 years old, and I was in the middle of some of the worst dates that you could possibly ever think of. And I looked at my ceiling one day and I said, God, seriously, where is my Josh? 6 months later, in an airport, I met a man called Josh, who was an Australian worship pastor. And 15 months after that, I married him. So first of all tonight, my thanks has to go to God for not just fulfilling the crazy, crazy dream of a girl from New Zealand of one day publishing a romance novel, but for also writing a better romance for me than I ever could have imagined. Second, I have to thank my imaginary hero turned real, my husband Josh, who's right now home in New Zealand with our 3 small children holding down the fort for 9 days so I could come here and be with you. I want to thank my critique partners, the Sister Chucks. In late 2016, my traditional publisher underwent a restructure, and I didn't know what my future career was going to be. And they were the ones who encouraged me to be brave and to put this story out into the world, something that was different from anything that I'd ever written before. And I'm so glad that they did. I want to thank my editors, Yola and Hayley, who pushed me to make this the best story that I possibly could, even when I just wanted to be done. And I want to thank my family and my children. I particularly want to thank my 6-year-old Judah, who rang me up the other day and said, Mummy, this year you need to bring home the trophy. And last but certainly not least, thank you so much to RWA for the incredible honour, for the incredible friendships that I've made here, for everything that you do to make us all better writers. Thank you so much.
Our next presenter attended her first local RWA chapter meeting primarily so she'd remember to brush her teeth and put on clean clothes with a 6-week-old baby at home. That baby is now 15, and without the support of her writer friends, Michelle never would have had the courage to keep writing even with the kids, a day job, and too many rejections to count. Now she's the author of more than 20 books and is honored to be presenting the award for Best Contemporary Romance Short. Please welcome Michelle Major.
That was really long. The Rita finalists for Best Contemporary Romance Short are The Billionaire's Christmas Baby by Marian Lennox, Harlequin Romance, Sheila Hodgson, editor. Christmas at the Graph by Kaylee Newell, Thule Publishing, Montana-born, Sinclair Sawney, editor. A Christmas Miracle by Amy Andrews, Harlequin Mills & Boone, medical, Megan Haslam, editor. The Cowboy Upstairs by Tanya Michaels, Harlequin Western Romance, Johanna Raisinin, editor. The Doctor and the Princess by Scarlett Wilson, Harlequin Mills & Boone, medical romance, Nicola Cause, editor. Miracle on Chance Avenue by Jane Porter, Thule Publishing, Montana-born. The Princess Problem by Terry Wilson, Harlequin Special Edition, Gail Chasen, editor. Second Chance Summer by Kate Nolan, self-published, Susan Bischoff, editor. The Sheik's Convenient Princess by Liz Fielding, Harlequin Romance, Brian E. Green, editor. Troy, American Extreme Bull Rider, Tour No. 5 by Amy Andrews, Thule Publishing, Sinclair Sawney, editor. And the Rita for Best Contemporary Romance Short goes to Second Chance Summer by Kate Nolan.
Wow. Okay, I thought I was going to be terrified because I hate public speaking, but I've kind of realized over the last couple of days, you guys are my pals. You're my people, so I'm okay, I think. So there have been a lot of people that are talking about all of their history with RWA. I don't have that. I'm brand new, and I wouldn't be here if not for Tana Fensky. I've been kind of happily bebopping along in my happy little self-publishing world, not remotely thinking about contests or memberships. And when the Ritas opened for entry, she said, "You should enter. I think you've got a good chance." And I said, "I think you're crazy, but okay." So I officially owe you a glass of your favorite Pinot. I have a lot of other people to thank. I'd like to thank Zoe York and Gwen Hayes for inviting me to come play in your world in Camp Firefly Falls. The ladies in all of my assorted writer sprint groups for helping me keep my nose to the grindstone. My friends at the Pie Society for being generally awesome and always asking about my characters as if they're my children, because you know they're really real. My husband, Alan, for being such an amazingly supportive partner who tolerates with great good humor the fact that my brain is in another world at least 50% of the time. I really love you, baby. And finally, I have to give my heartfelt thanks and deepest gratitude to my editor, Susan Bischoff. She couldn't be here tonight. It's been an absolute privilege to learn from you and work with you over the past 13 years. You push me and challenge me and make me exponentially better than I am as a writer. And this Rita is absolutely as much yours as mine. Here's to many more years and countless future books. Thank you.
Our next presenter is a New York Times and USA Today best-selling author who got fed up with rejections from Hollywood and joined forces with a few of her fellow authors to form a movie-making coalition with the purpose of bringing their books to film. Here to present the Rita for Best Contemporary Romance Mid-Length is RWA Honor Roll member, Brenda Jackson.
The Rita finalists for Best Contemporary Romance Mid-Length are The F Word by Sandra Martin, self-published, Gretchen Stoll, editor. His Perfect Partner by Priscilla Olivares, Kensington Publishing, Zebra Shout, Martin Bira, editor. Lucky Charmed by Charla Lovelace, Kensington Publishing, Lyrical Shine, Wendy McCurdy, editor. New Lease on Life by Roxanne St. Clair, self-published, Christy Yanta, editor. Redemption by Kelly Moran, self-published, A.J. Newith, editor. Royally Wed by Terry Wilson, Pocket Books, Pocket Star, Marla Daniels, editor. Summer Stock by Vanessa North, Riptide Publishing, Carol Ann Galloway, editor. Tell Me by Abigail Strom, Amazon Montlake Publishing, Maria Gomez and Charlotte Hersher, editors. This Can't Be Love by Maria Gerasi, self-published, Rhoda McDuffie, editor. You Do Something to Me, The Sullivans by Bella Andre, Oak Press, LLC, Shella Bates, editor. And the reader for the best contemporary romance mid-length goes to Abigail Strong.
Let me first thank RWA for working so hard to promote our genre. I want to thank my mother for her support, and my amazing critique partner, Tara Gorvine, who's read every word I've ever written. Thank you to Charlotte Hersher for her insights, and to the entire team at Montlake, especially the incandescent Maria Gomez, who, among her other many accomplishments, can eat more sushi in one single sitting than any 10 women I know. A special shout out to my son Owen for this one. Tell Me is full of Anne of Green Gables references, and I made a research trip to Prince Edward Island when I was writing it. My husband couldn't come, but my son, who was 13 years old at the time, said, I'll keep you company. I informed him that this would be an Anne of Green Gables immersion experience. And he said, no problem. I don't know how many teenage boys would volunteer to listen to the Anne of Green Gables unabridged audiobook on a 12-hour drive to Canada, followed by a day at the Anne of Green Gables Museum, and an evening at the Anne of Green Gables musical. But I am blessed to be the mother of one of them. And finally, I want to thank my husband. He has read every word I've ever written, not once but many times. And he has been my partner and advocate and cheerleader through every struggle and every success. I won't try to put into words how much I love him. I'll just say, for all the Hamilton fans out there, that when I write to him, I always put the comma after dearest. Thank you.
I think I might be more nervous than Abby was, but I can't think of a more deserving author, a more wonderful partner. And this book was actually pitched to me at RWA San Diego, and it's fitting that she wins this Rita Award. I can't tell you how much it means to us. And on behalf of Montlake Romance and Amazon Publishing, we thank you.
Romance writers are known for being willing to help each other and not view each other as competition. It's part of what makes this community so special. And when that helping hand comes from a well-known author helping to elevate your career, it can feel like winning the lottery, meeting your favorite movie star, or suddenly being able to leap across a canyon all rolled into one.
It transported me into a world that people were facing incredible odds, much more so than a parent dropping off their kid at college, and they were finding their happily ever afters. And I was completely just enchanted. She did more than that. When my book was published, she invited me to be an author in her book club. She bought my books, promoted my books on social media, gave my books away at the Barbara reader event, and she's always been there for me. You know, my husband always says, criticism, not flattery, is the sincerest form of friendship, and I'm just so lucky to have Eloisa James as a true friend and a true mentor.
About 45 minutes into the event, J.R. Ward says, "So, is there an author named Laura Kay in the room?" And I was stunned, speechless, but all the readers sitting around Jen and I are waving and standing up and pointing. So Jess comes to where we're sitting and she makes me stand up, which I still don't know how I actually managed that. And she proceeds to spend about 2 minutes talking to her 2,000 readers who are in this huge ballroom about what a big fan she is of mine, about how much she loved the Harding series, about how they should all read the Harding series. And I was totally blown away. I was just so overwhelmed by what she had done, because it wasn't just that she had shared her time with me, but she had also shared her readers and her platform. And it was nothing that she had to do. It was something that she had just done out of the desire to lift another author up. And it meant the world.
Our next presenter is an acclaimed writer who finds inspiration in the stories of courageous women in the Chinese culture, and who is indebted to many workshop presenters and generous authors who offered valuable feedback and support while she struggled with her first novel. Here to present the Rita for Best Mainstream Fiction with a Central Romance is last year's winner, Wayna Di Randall.
The Rita finalists for Best Mainstream Fiction with a Central Romance are The Night Mark by Tiffany Reese, Harlequin Mira, Susan Swingwood, editor. Now that you mention it, by Kristen Higgins, Harlequin, HQN, Susan Swingwood, editor. Shelter the Sea by Heidi Cullinan, self-published. Sasha Knight, editor. Unloved, a love story by Katie Regnery, self-published. Chris Belden and Melissa DeMeo, editors. And the Rita Award goes to Now That You Mention It by Kristen Higgins.
Guys. Oh, thank you so much. I'm very surprised. Thank you to my fellow finalists, Katie, Tiffany, and especially Heidi. Thank you for elevating the genre and for making me so proud to be your peer. Thank you to my agent, Maria Carvanis, who is always wise and wonderful. Susan Swinwood, my editor, who loved this book and took such good care of it, and the entire team at Harlequin for their support. Thank you to my local chapter, Connecticut RWA, the best chapter in the world. We had 5 finalists tonight, so we're very proud. Just occurred to me that I do not have my shoes on. I'm also not wearing Spanx or a bra, so there. Oversharing as usual. My husband, Terrence Keenan McIrish, to the rest of you, is here tonight, and he wasn't here when I won my first 2 Ritas. You better be happily sobbing right now, honey. Thank you for your unwavering love, for your support, for your tolerance of my many non sequiturs, and thank you for the great sex. My children are not watching tonight. I don't think they know it's the Ritas tonight, but let me tell you, kids, this is proof that, as I keep telling you, your mother is very cool. As happy and proud as I am to win tonight, I have to acknowledge that this year, the absence of a single African-American finalist has shown us more than ever that we have a problem in RWA and in our country. Writing is hard, but it's harder for some of us. There are people in RWA, from best-selling authors to newbies, who feel that if a character is different from them, they can't relate. That if an author is different from them, they're not interested in reading her. Or if a book doesn't represent their exact experience, it doesn't belong. The opposite of love isn't hate, it's judgment. And if we're fixated on only ourselves, on being right all the time, on judging others because they're not like us, we will never truly embrace what our books supposedly show, that we are all deserving of love and recognition and a fair chance. To those of us who have never had to struggle for that chance, we must work to make those chances for others. Let's carry that message of inclusivity and openness in our hearts and our works, because we are romance writers. Our lives are devoted to imagining a better way and bringing joy to our readers. So get out there, write your books, read books that are by people from all backgrounds and all experiences. Let's keep our hearts loving and full of light and show the world how it's done. Thank you, RWA.
On behalf of HQN and of Harlequin, thank you very much and congratulations, Kristen. As you can see, she's not only a brilliant writer, she's also a very thoughtful and generous woman. It's been a pleasure to be her editor, and her books remain some of my favorites, not only as an editor, but as a reader. Thank you again, and thanks to the RWA.
Our next presenter is a USA Today bestseller, the 2017 recipient of the Nora Roberts Lifetime Achievement Award, and has spent her 20-plus year career helping to ensure all writers have a seat at the table. Here to present the Rita for Best First Book is Beverly Jenkins.
The Rita finalists for Best First Book are Blackbird of the Gallows by Meg Castle, Entangled Publishing, Entangled Teen, Liz Peltier, editor. His Perfect Partner by Priscilla Olivares, Kensington Publishing Corporation, Zebra Shout, Martin Biro, editor. Take the Lead by Alexis Daria, St. Martin's Press, Swerve, Holly Ingram, editor. The Thing with Feathers by McCall Hoyle, HarperCollins Blink, Jillian Manning, editor. Waltzing with the Earl by Catherine Tinley, Harlequin Mills and Boone, historical, Julia Williams, editor. And the Rita for best first book, say that fast 3 times, goes to oh yeah, Take the Lead by Alexis Daria.
Oh my God. My phone is not on. You guys, like, I have a speech, but you don't even know. However many hours ago, I was like up in the room. This altitude has just been like screwing with me a lot. I've had vertigo for 3 days. This is like everything. First of all, I'm so grateful and appreciative of this organization and community. I just offer a really heartfelt thank you to the RWA staff, the board, the members, the judges of this contest, first and final round, the other finalists, especially Priscilla. I'm just thankful that everyone has created the space that supports us in achieving our dreams. And I truly look forward to the continued growth and development of this group toward making it a safe, welcoming, and inclusive space for everyone who wants to write happily ever afters. And happily for now, so if that's your jam. Sorry, my phone is blowing up. This whole experience has just been amazing and wonderful, and if you'll allow me a little honesty, a little bit challenging, because I'm not great at celebrating myself. You can ask my boyfriend how many times I've tried to talk this down, and I'm still in like awe and disbelief. I need to thank my amazing and wonderful agent, Sarah Younger. my fantastic team at St. Martin's Press, my editor Holly, and Jenny, and Lizzie, and Marissa, and TT. They've just done so much for me and been so supportive. Also, my writing community really began with the New York City NaNoWriMo community and the critique group that grew out of that. I've been part of that since 2004. My local chapter, RWA NYC, and my incredible friends there. There they are. My Four Chicas chat ladies. I think they're over there somewhere. Priscilla, Mia, and Sabrina. My 2017 Golden Heart sisters. The Rebels, who have just been the kind of blessing that I didn't even know to ask for. Team RW chat. I know you guys are watching. Robin, Kim, and Chelsea, I wish you were here. And without them, this book would not have been written and would not have gotten out the way that it did. My parents, who are both writers, for instilling in me a love of reading and nurturing my creativity, however it manifested, even if it was some questionable high school fashion choices. Parachute pants, anyone? It was the 90s. And my boyfriend, Mike, who is here with me, who flew in today just for this, and he's leaving tomorrow. He walks in when I am hunched over the laptop to A, remind me to sit up straight, and B, go, "You're a great writer." And I'm like, okay, you know. His parents, his mother is also here, and I have known them for more than half my life now, and they're all just the most wonderful people I could ever hope to know. I just want to say that, you know how sometimes we'll see something on the internet that we really relate to, and we go, oh, I feel so seen. But really, we do just want to be seen and heard. And sometimes reading a really great book can make you feel that way. And sometimes you write a book hoping to be seen and heard. And to get the kind of lovely comments that people have given me about Take the Lead here and online and through email and however, it's just been kind of an overwhelming feeling of joy beyond what words can express, but I'm gonna try. Growing up as a Puerto Rican girl in the Bronx, I had resigned myself to the fact that I would never see myself reflected in the genre fiction that I love to read. So I wrote Gina, who's a dancer and a Puerto Rican girl from the Bronx. And she was the kind of character that I wish I'd read when I was younger and new to the romance genre. But I didn't know if anyone else would get her and would know and understand her, see and hear her the way that I did. And to know that people have, and that this character is being seen and heard in this way, is everything that I could have hoped for. So thank you for helping me make a dream come true. Thank you for seeing me. And my dream and hope for this genre is that everyone has the experience of opening up a book and feeling seen and heard within the pages. Or that you can write your deepest truth on the page and be received with the same kind of love that I have. Thank you.
Alexis is such a star. We're so proud of her. We're so proud to publish her. This is Beth's first book, but the first of many to come from her. So thank you to the RWA on behalf of St. Martin's Press and Swerve.
Tonight wouldn't be complete without one final look at the incredible support romance writers give each other, and how sometimes our writer friends just might know what career move we should make better than we do.
My name is Shirley Hale-Stott, and my banner year at RWA was 1993. I just finished my third manuscript. Notice I said completed, not ready, not edited, not finished. I was about to begin a writing class with RWA founder Vivian Stevens, and I wanted to begin a new project. So I put that manuscript under the bed, so to speak, and started my new class. But each week when I went to my critique meeting with my new pages for the new work in progress, they would ask me about that book. It became known as that book. I told them that book was not ready and that I was going to go on with my project. My best friend Kim Lewis, who had written Loving Becky, pointed to that book as the one that would get me published, that would allow me to step over the line. I disagreed. I kept saying the book I was writing was the one, but they were insistent. I felt like I was alone on one side of the rocky ground and they were the Hosea choir on the other, all of them singing the praises of that book, the completed manuscript, not the book I was working on in my class. Finally, the overwhelming scream of the chorus got to me. I pulled it out from under the bed and agreed to take a week to edit, polish, and submit the book. 6 months later, I sent it to Kensington Publishing. And 30 days after that, the editor, Monica Harris, called me and said she wanted to buy the book. When the call came, I was incoherent. I didn't remember anything. But I did remember from my critique partners, from my best friend Kim, and from being a member of the New Jersey Romance Writers, that I was not to accept anything. I was to say thank you, hang up the phone, and call somebody. Well, I decided to call Kim because she would be the rational person, because I certainly was not rational at that point. I called her, but I had to look her phone number up, my best friend, and I couldn't even remember her phone number. All I could remember was Kensington wanted to buy the book. Well, friends are great, and they help you out a lot in RWA. In marketing books, they have helped me with brainstorming. We've tried new methods that work. We've done the tried and true. We've done all kinds of things, but they're always there for you in the background, in a late phone call, wherever. They're there. Writer friends help you with your efforts. They help you to the path of success. They support you. Our sisterhood is phenomenal. With my friends at RWA, my writer friends that I've met along the way, I'll tell you, there's no question, we are definitely all in this together. Thank you.
Well, that's it for the 2018 Ritas, but we're just getting started with the conference. Enjoy the workshops, the meetings, and the parties. In fact, we've got one starting right now, so go forth and dance, and remember, always be there for each other.